We all know that communication skills are crucial for any relationship. And when somebody has those skills, oh my gosh, they make so much of an impression to you and to me. But we've also had those moments where we're really nervous to talk with people because we don't know how our request or our message will be received. Well, this podcast, fortunately, is going to go over all the things, the science, the tips, the tricks, and the ways to make sure that you can have the best relationships that you can through the way that you communicate. And after listening to these episodes, you can do so fearlessly with confidence, knowing that you can be relatable to anybody you choose. Welcome to the Attractive Relationships Podcast. What is the difference between confidence and arrogance? This is a very important question because it's my personal belief that the most attractive thing that you could ever put on is confidence. When you walk into a room with your teammates, with your employees, to a sales call, on a date, if you walk in with a lack of confidence, that is unattractive. But if you can walk in with the right kind of confidence, it brings people to you, especially the right kind of people. But what I find is that a lot of people will sabotage their confidence that they can portray simply because they are afraid of coming across as somebody who's arrogant. And we both know that an arrogant person is a turnoff. It makes us not want to follow somebody who is arrogant or even listen to them. So if you know the difference between confidence and arrogance, it will help you to be more attractive, to be more magnetic. It'll help you to be noticed more by your boss or be appreciated by somebody that you're in a relationship with. So what's the difference, and how can we make sure that we are portraying confidence and not arrogance? All right, so here's the difference. Confidence is when you know you have done or are doing something good, a good job. So, for example, if let's just say you're walking into a room, but you put some attention to your appearance. You know your hair is nice, you know your outfit's nice, and you walk in knowing that you look good. You walk in with a sense of confidence. Or let's say that somebody asks you to do something that is in your wheelhouse. It's like, hey, can you build this website? Or can you fix this car? Or can you give this presentation? And you are very confident in your skill set to do that thing. All right, you will portray that like, absolutely, no problem. I got you. And that's portraying confidence. But then what's arrogance? Arrogance is when somebody thinks that they are better than others. It's hard to have arrogance without confidence, but the real difference between the two is confidence is just you know you've done a good job. And arrogance is I believe I've done a better job than you and almost everybody else. That's the person that's a turnoff. So here's the problem then on trying to portray confidence without coming across as arrogant. Oftentimes, the mistake that we have in portraying confidence happens when we are getting complimented. And I'm guilty of this too, even to this day. And I'm sure you've come across people who've done what I'm about to say. Somebody gives you a compliment and says, you did a good job. And the response is, yeah, I was just trying. I could have done better. It wasn't as good as I wanted it to be. And we downplay the compliment that we were given. The compliment that was giving us feedback that we did a good job on something. And we downplay it. We make it smaller. We make it less significant. When we do that, is that really a measure of confidence that we are portraying? No, but why do we answer that way? I think there's a few reasons, but I think one of the reasons is because people are afraid to come across as arrogant. But what we really end up doing is we are invalidating the other person's opinion or perspective about us that was positive. For example, let's take that same example. It's like somebody says you did a good job on something, and instead of saying, well, I could have done better, what if you just simply said, thank you, I appreciate you noticing, I really did work hard on it? What comes across better? What comes across as more confident? If you're going on a date and somebody was like, you know what, I really like what you did when you were talking to our server. Or I really like the outfit that you put together. I can tell you put some thought into this and it looks fantastic. Do you respond with, well, I really struggled trying to figure out what to wear, or, to be honest with you, I didn't even know what to say to the server, blah, blah. No, you just say, thank you. Thank you for noticing. I appreciate you saying those things. You didn't have to, but I really appreciate it. And that's it. Because when we downplay what a compliment that we are given, we are not running away from the arrogance as much as we are invalidating what the other person is communicating to us. Hey guys, real quick, I am sure that all of us have had the moments where we're a little nervous or afraid to talk to somebody because we don't know how they're going to respond. Are we going to be able to talk to our life partner without them getting upset? Or are we going to talk to our boss to get that raise or that interview for that job? If we ever get nervous in those moments, we have to fearlessly communicate in a way that's effective to get the things we want and need. And if you want to know how to consistently do that, there's a formula and a program on exactly how to do that. And it's called the Be Fearless and Effective Communicators Program. If you are interested in learning more about that, you can click the link that's in the show notes, or you can go to attractiverelationships.com/fearless. Honestly, I wish we lived in a world where we could honestly talk about the things that we do well. But unfortunately, a lot of the confidence that we could have gets sapped out of us because of certain environments. Maybe you grew up in an environment where nothing was ever good enough, right? It doesn't matter. You got almost all A's on your report card, but that one B was enough for your mom or dad to be like, not good enough. And then you become an adult and you go to the working world and you do so many things well and so many things right, but then your boss comes around just to pick on the one or two things that you don't do well. Or then you get into a relationship and it starts great. Oh, I love everything about you. But then as the relationship progresses, it seems like all the focus is on the things that you don't do well. And it's almost like society will train you and I to not allow ourselves to be confident. And yet, the most attractive thing that we have is our confidence. So here's what I'm going to ask you to do in order to portray the most attractive parts of yourself, which is something that you would portray with your confidence, not your arrogance, but with your confidence. I would highly encourage you, write down the things that you are confident about. What is it about your personality that you are confident about, that you feel good about? What is it about a certain skill set or talent that you have? Like, are you good at playing an instrument like a guitar? Are you really good at something that's crafty? Are you good with your hands? Are you good with people, for example? If you're really confident about that, make a note of those things. And don't apologize for them. In fact, if you are good at certain things, I wish more people would say them out loud. All you have to do is make sure you say it in a way that is not making yourself seem better than everybody else. I'll give you an example. When I'm in coaching fitness classes, I actually see this quite a bit from some of the best people that have ever been in any of my fitness classes when I was coaching them. One guy, his name was Omar, and Omar had bad hips from being shot down from a helicopter in the military, and he rehabbed himself all the way to be one of the best athletes in any group workout class. Amazing story. That on its own, if we were to start to think in a way of judgment, we would say we would judge Omar as better than everybody else. And objectively, his performance was better than everybody in class. But here's what made Omar so magnetic and so special. When Omar was in class, he would run faster than most people. He would work out more intensely than most people. And he would say, I'm doing a great job. And he would know, he's like, but then he would also praise and encourage other people who were trying their best efforts. Because what he recognized was that they were doing a good job too. And in his mind, it wasn't about being better than the other person. It was simply being the best that you could be, because he could remember the work that he had to go through, from being shot down from a helicopter, having to go through surgery at a young age, basically having brand new hips, couldn't walk, was told he could never walk again. And then he would run a mile. And then he would run a 5K, and he would run. It was almost like a Forrest Gump story. Remember Forrest Gump? If you saw this old movie, Forrest Gump was in those braces, and all of a sudden the braces just fell off, and he became like a super athlete. That was Omar. And Omar never let that get to his head. He recognized that he did a good job to progress and get to the point where he was. And he did not shy away from that story. But he also didn't view himself as better than anybody. He recognized that everybody has their own struggles, and he would compliment them. Omar, objectively performing better than most people, never came across as arrogant, but he also never denied himself of the good work that he did. And that could be you too. You could be really magnetic if you are aware of the job that you're doing as something good, and that is no reason to apologize. It's no reason to diminish a compliment from somebody who recognizes your good work. It's a reason to celebrate for yourself. You can clap for yourself for a job that you know is good, and at the same time, compliment other people's good work too. If we do that, take compliments well by a simple thank you for noticing. And then in return, we make sure not to downplay our accomplishments, not to invalidate somebody's compliments towards us, but instead return the compliments either to the one giving it to us or to other people. And if we do those things, we can walk into a space, any room, whether it's at work or on a date or wherever you are, and have the most attractive things you can put on, which is your confidence, and watch it be contagious to those around you. As we come to the end of another episode of Attractive Relationships, I want to express my gratitude to you for tuning in. Your support really does mean the world to me. Now, if this episode brought you any value, I would truly appreciate it if you shared this podcast with anyone that you think could benefit from our discussions on effective communication and relationship building. Until next time, remember, great relationships start with great communication. So stay curious, stay compassionate, and keep building those attractive relationships.